woke up this morning and I saw the news, and it was like seeing the Berlin Wall falling down. That's how historic this is, what has happened with this summit between Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un. Seeing them coming into that room and shaking hands, and Kim Jong Un, I believe, is getting rid of his nuclear weapons, etc. He wants to certainly have investment in North Korea. He was even quoted at one point as saying he wanted a Trump Tower and a McDonald's in Pyongyang. You know, we will have to see. But of course, certain elements, certainly in the mainstream media, but also just people generally on the left, don't seem to be willing to give credit where credit's due. It does show a huge lack of integrity from my perspective. I'll be very surprised as well if Donald Trump actually gets the Nobel Peace Prize, although he should, because he has quite literally created world peace, or at least a big chunk of world peace. Because, you know, you're talking about a country that could have annihilated South Korea at any time, even before they had nuclear weapons. And now they've got to the point where they develop nuclear weapons. They're a threat to everyone, and that's now, well, hopefully, you know, it's early days yet, but it's hopefully being resolved. But the thing is, you look at the difference between, you know, what the Democrats have done and what Donald Trump has done. They would just effectively either impose sanctions on North Korea if they're doing things they didn't like, or give them aid, or they would take sanctions away. At no point were they sort of showing due respect to the North Koreans and saying, look, let's forget about all of this. What do you want? You want to be rich? You want to have a great life? You want to have a great country? Well, let's do that. And that's what Donald Trump's done. He's just done the deal, like a business deal. He's just walked in and he said, okay, you know, what are your problems? You know, what can we do to make this go away? What can we do to make this work? And he just went and did it. You know, one of the things North Koreans were annoyed about is the Americans having such a military presence in the area. But of course, they've only got a military presence in the area because of the threat from North Korea. So they're like, well, sure, you become less of a threat, we'll become less of a threat, and we'll get along. It's not rocket science, is it? But it did get me thinking about the difference between the sort of conservative worldview and the sort of left-wing worldview. And it's interesting because from a left-wing worldview, if you look at the comments on, say, the BBC Facebook group, etc., from certain people, they're just like, wow, he's still torturing his own people, he's still doing this, that and the other. And it's like, well, yeah, but is the situation better now than it was yesterday? I mean, if you're of a mindset where everything has to just be completely perfect or you're just not going to bother, it's the sort of thing that somebody who doesn't ever achieve anything in their life would say. You know, it's quite straightforward. It's like, it's from a conservative point of view, you're like, okay, these are things I value that we've already got, and what can we do to sort of cautiously build upon them and make them even better? There's a country, North Korea, okay, there's lots of bad sides to it, but there's good sides to it as well. What can we do to get something positive out of this situation and build upon that to create something great? It's not rocket science, is it? But there is this mentality, it's like, you know, can you do something? You know, what can we do to make stuff better under the paradigm of what we've already got? Compared to the left-wing view where you're like, okay, well, I just want everything to be done all over from scratch, which of course means you never achieve anything at all, unless you use coercion. And that's the other side of the argument, of course. People are not seeing that. There's sort of 100 million people killed in the 20th century because of this sort of socialist mentality. So let's for once put this aside and think, okay, well, something really great's happened here. Go Trump. That was a hell of an achievement.